Greetings, everyone. Coinstamp 180 here. Or, wow, geez. I'm Swirling Vortex '09, or otherwise known as Coinstamp, no number. And welcome to another episode of Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries. Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries, for those that aren't familiar, is a mod package that one can find on Nexus Mods that changes a lot of stuff, classes, or masteries, or values or gear or enemy types, all of that stuff. It's everywhere. Just have to know where to look. Last time on Grim Dawn, I was more or less... I never did sell this on camera. Off camera, did I? I believe that was something I wanted to do. Oh well, we'll have to manage inventory another time, or when it becomes painfully relevant that is what I have to do. But last time, we were in the process of... Let's go ahead and store that as well. We could desperately need it. Desperately use it, rather. What was I saying? Last time, I showed you all pretty much how the game works. We did a little bit of the story. At this point, we're to go recover the portal area in Burwitch and go from there. Now, for those not familiar with Grim Dawn, just baseline, Grim Dawn, the way that logging in and out of your character works is kind of similar to how Diablo, specifically Diablo 2 or 3 operates logging in and out. Like, you'll get to keep your map, but you won't get to keep whatever kills you made on screen. So, you know, if you had loot there, it's gone. You'll have to get it all over again. You'll have to kill all over again. But other than that, like the progress you made, the maps you've unlocked, that stuff is accurate. So we have to make our way back through Burial Hill again and try to figure out where we left off. And also bear in mind that our skills could get us in a lot of trouble. We're trying to just make our way through an area and we pick off a random target, we're gonna have a problem. As you can see, we've already met a nemesis or a boss.
My energy is low.
Yes, I know my energy is low. Gotta be careful, and I have to concentrate just a little bit. Oh, and I'm also forgetting to... Hold on, I need to do a couple of notices just real quick like. And it's this one here. Okay. We're done. Now that we're done with that, we can return to our regularly scheduled viewing. And it really does, like, the with Dawn of Masteries, it does become a little bit more of like a loot donkey type experience. A loot pinata. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, we made it all the way up here, so we've got quite a ways away yet before we can, you know, see progress again. I probably should have parked there before the stream, but I was late today, and I do apologize for that. I was in the process of... Well, I woke up late. That part is strictly on me. There's nothing else to do about that. The part that ain't on me is needing to help my dad with recovering out of his shots. Like, my sibling went and took care of that, but in terms of getting him recovered after the fact, no, me and the house guest that I have, the house tenant, I should say, we both helped make sure he was stable after my sibling was finished. And that took like an hour. And then I had to help order food, because my dad really shouldn't be operating heavy machinery and electronics while he's recovering from anesthetic. And the house tenant is not very good with computers, so I'm the person who had to be responsible. So that pretty much... It's an excuse. Ultimately, all those things are excuses. I could have been streaming today. Main thing is I woke up late. The other stuff just didn't help. That's all. But I'm happy to be here now. I am here now. That is the important part. And I intend to give you guys as much of a good time as I possibly can. And unfortunately, because we're on camera sort of doing rinse and repeats of old content, there's not much I can demo or talk about. Other than these skills are new, we don't have anything In Grim Dawn, I almost said Elden Ring Reforged, almost. Um, that acts as an ice wall. We don't have chain lightning in Grim Dawn in the same way we have it here. Sorry, tonight's dinner was Arby's. So if anyone saw the red A on the screen, I do apologize. We are not sponsored by Arby's. We don't have the meats. This is organized, that's organized. This needs to be sorted. Yeah, see, I'm already devolving into the we need to organize this territory. Because I'm obsessive like that. I like having my inventory all nice and clean. Anyone else out here like that? Where it's like, you know, hey, you know, you've got a looter with massive inventory management, gameplay in it, and you hoard and hoard and hoard and hoard until you don't need to hoard gear anymore, and then you have to go back and take like 10 minutes to sort out gear, but it is a cathartic experience. Even Stardew Valleys like this, like you only have 30, 40 slots tops. 40 with mods, I believe it's 30 without. And, you know, it takes a while to actually do the cleaning, but once you've sorted it, chef's kiss. It's one of the most cathartic experiences in the world for me. It's a very relaxing thing to just sit there and manage inventory. As weird as that sounds, then again, you guys didn't come here for sane or normal, did you? Here I am playing a mod of a really awesome, game. I didn't think I'd like Grim Dawn at first, just playing through it regularly, but the more I played through the base game, the more I realized that there's a lot of hidden potential here. Now, is it perfect? No. Honestly, I think they could have cut out the voice acting, because it doesn't, I mean, there is enough voice acting. It's similar to Diablo, that there's enough to go on, and it helps solidify the imagination, or correct it, but it doesn't, it's not overbearing either. Not every minor NPC has a voice line or anything. It's adequate. It gets the job done, which is nice. That's more than I can say for some Oblivion or Skyrim mods that don't focus on, that actually have silent NPCs, or, you know, other text-based games where there aren't voices at all. Instead, you just read it, and you have to imagine the character. There are pros and cons to for both in today's world. A developer, that's all. Oh god. Giant crab. $500 off of a single hit. Sorry, this thing has me focused now. That'll happen sometimes, where I kind of have to focus, or I die. And I know that's bad for streams, where it's like the streamer goes silent. No, a lot of people just have you in the background. A lot of people don't actually chat. That's not what's happening. Also, let me make sure, like, my chat is being screwy today, so I'm really having to make sure I'm not missing things. I might have the chat open up on the web just to make sure of that. Yeah, I did something stupid with my stream elements and logged in with Google, So now, instead of my stream elements chat being the chat, it is now actually YouTube in a smaller panel, which is weird. I don't know. And I probably need to set up a portal or like a rift so I don't have to make that walk 5,000 times. Yeah, I know the silence is bad. It's just, it's hard when I'm having to focus on not dying. It's easier when I can just demo through small kills or something to talk through, but when it comes to you know, bigger challenges, that can be hard. Oh god, no. There's the crab. Gotta remember, we have a build that rewards us for kiting the enemy. So we ought to use that to our advantage. And or remind ourselves that that is the gameplay. And the thing about that particular crab, it's not the only crab out there, the only major crabby enemy. There are others that spew poison or aren't ethereal or do other stuff.
I can't do that yet.
And unfortunately, our damage output is such that we'll be kiting this thing a while. But that's fine. The nice thing is that we can just kite it easily. We know where it'll leash back to. You just have to make sure we're not, you know, pulling out like 20 to 50 different enemies all at the same time. Granted, this build will eventually get very good at dealing with that. Well, we will be using more than chain lightning, but or electrocute. Excuse me. Let me get the correct name there. But you know, we only have like a control tool, and it works half the time as a control tool. It does do damage, but we're not going to be focused on that. It literally is just the control tool. And I probably would forego the control tool if I were, you know, playing this for myself. Because I have no problems leashing things 50 times, but I know that's not what people want to see. People want to see progress, action, playing the game kind of as intended. You'd be surprised how many people out there are purists. There's nothing wrong with that, of course, but sometimes people have this tendency to get into their own heads and forget that, you know, a modded experience is out there, that you know, there's more than one way to play a game. There's a lot of gatekeeping, I guess, is the point I want to make. And the gatekeeping can break communities apart. I don't like it. No one likes gatekeeping, so just remember that. Before you analyze someone else's playstyle, well, with or without mods. Like if this were Grim Dawn and this is just how the gameplay turned out, I would be very worried. Now, our build is centered around electrocute and, not electrocute, I'm sorry. Our gameplay is centered around electricity and, fire for damage types. So what we want to do now is sort of pick up on our defensive tools. Let's go ahead and pump this up. Might as well finish it off. They're only 3 points. Excuse me. Sorry. Arby's is sitting a tad heavy on my stomach. And I've got, the belchies to boot. Yeah, our electrocute's expensive. We're gonna definitely want a lot of spirit. Yeah, a lot of spirit. Yes, that's it. Now we got that encounter with the... Oh, well, you know, where there's one slith, there are soon to be like 10 of them. Okay, we really do need the energy, so let's grab some more of that. Spirit or attributes are tied to physique, cunning, and spirit. Physique handles health and defensive stats. Cunning handles your ability to hit, your ability to crit, and damage with physical or pierce, as well as bonus duration damage and bonus duration on statuses such as bleed or poison. Whereas Spirit handles magical damage, duration damage of elemental statuses such as I'm sorry, if there's burn, electrocute, frost burn. That's what I'm thinking of. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm making our way back to a totem. The totems do refresh. So, the totems do refresh. So if you're wanting extra loot or a chance at something else specific, totems are a good way to do that in the base game. Cool. How's our gear looking? Okay, we've got like a tab or so before we have to worry. Eventually we'll get to the point where we also don't need to move around quite so much. Although, from what I understand, high-level play does contain quite a bit of movement. It probably isn't that much different than Diablo, if I'm being honest, in the sense that you know, if you don't move, you're going to die. Just period. You're gonna die. But the initial portion of the game may not feel that way. You know, you might be able to stand around and trade, go toe-to-toe with, or smack something. I don't know, I admire the ability to be able to, stand in the and just, do what you gotta do. But I know that's not typically how casters play. With casting builds, you're meant to move around, you're meant to just not be there when something bad happens. We probably will have to do one inventory management segment at some point, but then we should be good after that. We have a lot of room to work with.
That skill's not ready.
Nice, we leveled up just in time. As you can see, even though Ice Bomb is not a primary ability we want to be focusing on, it is important. The instant burst damage on it is nothing to scoff at. There's if we were playing base Grim Dawn with no extra masteries, you know, we'd probably be playing Arcanist right now, and Arcanist has a sort of frozen nova. Ability that freezes enemies in place or slows them down, and it does quite a bit of damage, and it's also pretty important for most builds that aren't taking the, like if you're not going with the magic missile type builds, you do need to have some amount of crowd control. Okay, now that we have this, do we want anything out of here apart from, Ice Bomb? I know there's fire and cold affinity, but I believe we wanted this strictly for defensive benefits. And we're all done with Ice Bomb. Let's return to Scintillus for the time being. And try to make headway there. We do get access to a rapid move ability here. We also get access to Lightning Shield. Or Fire Nova. I'm a little worried that Fire Nova is going to compete with Electrocute for the how often it's going to come up. Maybe a 1 second skill recharge is less than I'm thinking. We do need something that will actually we need A to combat on a different damage type, or we're going to get locked out really hard by we're going to get locked out hard by enemies that are immune to shock or electricity. I'm just not sure that is the correct thing we want to do there. We do also still want to make it to Chain Lightning as well. Huh. I thought I had this planned out, but it turns out that this is a really difficult choice. We can't always undo our choice later, so I think for the time being, well, actually, let's make sure we read over each of these. One thing I can't stress enough in Grim Dawn is to really understand your abilities, how they work. And for reference, if you see a square that is an active ability, if you see a circle that is a passive ability, either something that triggers on you or it's a buff that is constantly active. Circles attached to squares like this augment the ability and not you. If you're trying to know how to read the mastery chart. So, teleport, 42 energy, 1.5 second skill recharge, and will teleport you 12 meters. Which could be useful if we need to get out. Actually, yeah, teleport would be really good for the situations we end up stuck in. It would be great to get out. Let's take teleport. So what we're going to do is put 2 points in teleport, which, as far as I can tell, drops the energy cost. Let's undo those points. Like, if we put 1 point, we have a 1.2 second skill recharge, which I think is coming from our gear. And then it appears to drop by a second. And then all that's happening is the range is being reduced. Or, no, I'm sorry. The cost is being reduced. Okay, and then we'll put a point in Scintillus and call it good. As for our available point, we're looking a little frail. Let's pump up our physique. Then I think we're good. Let's reorder this. And let's reorder this. Which, the reordering doesn't always make everything nice and neat. If you have uneven items, it will leave holes. It's not a catch-all. Just something to bear in mind. Okay. Yep, it works exactly as intended, and it is available about every second, which is good. That's really good. Most teleports in this game are available about every 12 seconds. Somewhere between 9 and like 12 seconds, if I remember correctly. And most of the time, you don't get instant teleports. you get, like, heightened movement or hard crowd control.
That skill's not ready.
So this'll help keep us from getting overwhelmed. I mean, nothing's gonna stop an enemy that's charging at us. They're going to just charge and catch up, but hopefully by the time we're done teleporting, you know, something else will come off cooldown, and we can use that to help control space, like, say, our ice bombs. All good stuff. This is where the music gets, Now, to talk about the music for just a moment. If you wanted it to get all, gritty and, like, solemn in a post-apocalyptic world where the setting sort of takes on this, Midwestern vibe, this is how you do it. The guitar is good. What can I say? I won't say the music is anything to write home about, but I will say that it does its job. If you know you're in an environment that demands some form of solemnity or anything else of that nature, it'll do the job. It isn't World of Warcraft's musical number, which, you know, for all the qualms that Blizzard gets, and rightfully so for how it treats its workers, you know, let it be said that the creative team over at Blizzard knows what it's doing. The music is usually really good. Orchestral scores, it's hard to tell if something is synthesized. It's good stuff. But, you know, just to make my stance on the matter clear, people at Blizzard definitely don't have an easy time, and Blizzard should be treating its VAs and other people who help make the content, who help make Blizzard games be what they are. People should be treating their employees in a nice, safe manner, and with respect. Like, that business around Bayonetta 3 is not something I was too keen or too happy about hearing. And I do like Bayonetta. I'm not sure I like the original VA after the things she said and did, but that's a different story. We're not talking about, I think her name is Helen Taylor? I should probably stop talking out of my butt right now and look up that name to be positively sure of that. Yeah, Helena Taylor. Excuse me, I was close. Yeah, she is she's the VA behind Bayonetta 1 and 2. I believe Jennifer Hale did Bayonetta 3. However, Helena Taylor is known a lot more for her theater acting. And she is the granny among VAs. I like her voice. I'm not sure I like the person anymore, I guess is what I want to say. It's kind of like Tiger Woods. When I found out that Tiger Woods had a Tyler Woods alternate whitewash of Tiger Woods, when I found out that Tiger had an affair with his wife, eventually he moved on, and I think he did do his time for that. You know, at first I did kind of judge the band, and that's wrong. You're not supposed to do that. But I did. I did judge him. And it took me a while to understand that, you know, I may not like the person's actions, but I could at least respect the work, respect their talent, respect the fact that it took them a while to get that good in life. It's not all talent, a lot of it is skill and practice. When people say it's talent, they diminish that. They downplay, they minimize what hard work, skill, and practice actually do for you. It's very sad. So, and then I learned, in saying all that, I learned that I can appreciate Tiger's golfing ability, but I could never respect him after the adultering he did with his wife, his former wife. But hey, he's there for his kids. Look, people do make dumb decisions, people make terrible decisions, believe in awful things. But people aren't Adolf Hitler. People aren't, people aren't terrible, one-dimensional anime characters. People have real depth to them. People can be evil and still do good things. People can be good and still do evil things. It doesn't... Life is a lot more gray than that. Life is very gray. And it's up to us to determine whether or not there is more whiteness or blackness in a person's soul. And no, I'm not talking about race. I need to get that out of the way right now. This is the internet. I have to do this. I'm talking about how good or ill-intentioned people are. I guess I could have used good or ill instead of black and white, but I think a lot of people understand I'm not talking about race there. Like, the context is very important. And there's your daily reminder that pause will actually, or your spacebar will pause your game for you. Great. I do my best to try to stay in my lane, not talk about too much. YouTube is going to be more of a cold mic from me than a hot one. If you want hot mic moments, check out my Twitch. That's https:// twitch.com or twitch.tv/coinstamp. You'll get all the hot mic moments, but here I want to focus more on the game. You know, I'm trying to walk you guys through it, show you how to play. At least one method of playing. There are a lot of different play styles. Many, many, many more of them are available with Dawn of Masteries. I believe I have a command up that shows it might be !DOM. Yeah, here we go. Oh, and there looks to be a character limit, so it's going to take us to, That's really weird. Yeah, I guess there's a character limit, and that's going to chop up the message. Sorry, flying gnat. Let me fix that real quick. Shouldn't take that long. I gotta remember that YouTube has a character limit for these things. 281? Yeah, it's gonna chop it up. It's gonna chop it up a lot. Is that 313? Yeah, it is. I don't know if I could tell you what the mod's about. I think I have to just get rid of all this. I don't know why it says 362, but whatever. Oh, that's the amount of characters it has left over. So I have to chop off 18 characters. Okay. Or 19 characters. That makes a lot of sense. Ah, technical issues. The stream. Okay. That should be good. Now let's try that command again. Yeah, now that's nice and easy. All in one message. And if I click on it, it should take us right there. Yes, go to site. Yep, does exactly what I want it to do. Awesome. Alright, I believe this is the Burwitch portal. Oh, it's the Whitemire portal. Never mind. Issues this in 3 waves. Now we have it. Whitemire is where we're probably going to find Jilius and Negan. We have a few quests we have to do here. How are we looking in inventory? Gonna have to manage it soon. Let's go ahead and reorganize this. I'll do what I can. The nice thing is that unless you log out, or, you know, Grim Dawn crashes like it did the first time, we do have the ability to... We do have the ability to come back and get loot. It doesn't despawn. Potions don't despawn. Or, other stuff doesn't despawn. Oh, hi there. Hi, Torvin. Let's talk to some others first. You're the first to find us in a long while. You're, welcome to warm yourself at our fire there, but when you leave, I ask that you keep this place a secret. I can do that. So long as you do not bring violence into this place, you are, welcome to return. Any wisdom for the road ahead? The first traveler was Rowan, king of old Arcovia, the city which once ruled over these lands and many others. It is said that Rowan met an old man on the road while returning from a battle. That old man, spoke of many strange things and revealed that he was a god who had wandered every path in this world since the dawn of time. He warned Rowan that a great doom would befall Arcovia because of his people's obsession with title and ownership. When Rowan returned, he renounced his throne and lands and took to the road, keeping only what he could carry. Many joined him, and they were called the Rowari, and eventually became the modern-day Rovers. Most of the Arcovians ridiculed Rowan, including his family, who thought him mad, but in the end, the old man's prophecy came true. Arcovia fell to ruin, its lands cursed to this day. Many, even among our kind, have forgotten the truth of the name. Rover is an outsider name confused for our true name, Rowari. The people of Rowan. Over time, we've gotten so used to being called rovers, many among us have come to favor it. We've become a careless, traveling free folk and lost sight of our first true path. I will be... What was that? Is that a mosquito hawk? I couldn't tell. I will be right back. I'm so sorry about that. I could not handle a mosquito hawk being in the room. I know they're friends, but I just couldn't take that chance, and I'm absolutely freaked out by insects. I do not like them in my home. I am a self-loving druid. I love nature. I respect it. But that doesn't mean I have to like it, and if I'm afraid, then that too is part of nature. So I opted to spray the room with a chemical, a scent freshener, to see if that would temporarily drive it away for a little while. We have a roving merchant. Oh, goody. We needed one of these. And Dwarven. You traveler. You travel... wow. Jeez. Bad start. You travel a dangerous path, stranger. This solitary refuge is one of the few places left in the Whitemire. If you plan to set out on the road again, perhaps there's a way we could help one another. What might that be? The Slith are unnatural creatures and poison the land itself. So it seems only fitting that we should turn some of their vile magic against them. Their shamans carry bone necklaces, primitive things, but they carry primal power within them. I can weave this power into something more potent for you. If you bring me a few of their necklaces and say 100 iron bits to aid us in return, I will fashion for you a magical ring. What say you? You have a deal. I usually come in hand with the 3 Slith necklaces already. This is perfect. I can go and grab the Slith necklaces out of storage, return, and then we're in for some inventory management. Oh, I suppose it might be worth moving our mini camera, huh? There, let's try that. That'll give you the name and the mini map I'm using in the upper right hand corner. You can see it right there. It's right above me. It's not gone. Yes, I know, perfectly safe illusions. I want a perfectly safe room with no mosquito hawks in it. Alpha horn, we've got another one. I think we only need one of these. Yeah, and I think we've gotten to double stacking some stuff. Here is the Slith necklaces. Put in any components along with the epic tokens. Yeah, I suppose one of the main ways that we're getting like any excellent gear out of it is through the use of the epic tokens. When we get the ability to dismantle gear, which we will get by going to get that apprentice of Kasparov's. She's the one responsible for granting us access to that. We will, I will show that off then. For now, I'm going to do a slight bit of inventory management before doing the real thing. Real inventory management is going to be looking through all of our green gear and replacing any yellow gear that we might have at the moment. As we most certainly do not want to be using yellows for any longer than we need to. Shouldn't take long. He says he takes longer and longer. Anyone else ever feel self-conscious about this? Like you're on camera and you know you've got to get the loot management done. You know you've got to get it done, but you just don't want to pry yourself away from the action to make it happen. Yeah, that's more or less me right now. I'm also getting rid of any consumables we don't need at the moment. Slith necklaces can be moved. Going as fast as I possibly can. I'm just having to look through all the items. Items get quite small in this game. It can be hard to actually find something small like a potion or a ring or a necklace or a medal. Those are the hardest things to try to find.
I'll keep an eye on this.
Okay, we've got that covered. With the Slith necklaces in tow, also we have a tiny little thing we need to do. Shame that this doesn't just link straight to the stash, but that would be like cheating. Alright, now that we have this, let's head back, turn in those Slith necklaces. Once we turn in the 3, we have 8 of them currently. We can discard the rest. We don't need any more than that. We'll take a look and see what the merchant has. If they don't have anything good, then I'll be replacing it immediately. So do you have the necklaces? Ah, yes. Ah, yes. There's raw power in these bones, and my deft old hands weave it into something more potent yet. I will have the finished ring ready for you shortly. 250 reputation, 250 XP, and the Slith Primal Ring? Sure. That's better than what our current rings have now, but we need to do real looking. Sell scrap, but we don't need it. They have green guns. So it's weird. Like, an item in inventory is on the right. An item that you're looking at to buy is on the left. So if you're not careful, you can buy something thinking you're buying, oh man, that equipment on the right looks really good. Oh wait, I've got it equipped. It's in small white text too. It's hard to see. I wonder, is there a way to... let's filter this. We gotta sharpen... We've sharpened it. We need to, like, improve the, visual clarity. Is it the scaling aspect ratio that I'm looking for? Huh. No, it's just the UI size. More than anything. Unfortunately, the scaling or aspect ratio does make it hard to sort of see what's going on. I don't know if that has a real effect. We're gonna bin it. Oh, and it should be pointed out that I am making things a little bit sharper. If I increase the sharpness by five whole points. Yeah, I could change what you're seeing on stream just by doing this. We'll close it, or leave it at 10, I guess. And it only applies to SDR video. Makes sense. I just thought the visuals that my capture card provide are a little bit dull, by comparison. So sharpening them helps. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a little bit of inventory management to do. I will be here. Okay, good. If an item doesn't have any more uses when you chuck it out, or if it's a quest item and you've already turned in the quest, they won't, force you to pick it up again. It'll just stay gone. Now, I've got a lot of gear I want to try to do. Now, I'm curious about something. Now, does that actually change anything? With O, you can sort of play around with the filters. But I don't think this actually does much for us. Yeah, I don't actually think that does much for us. We'll just reset these to their defaults. And close it. I think that's for what you find out on the trail. So, I suppose we've got a whole bunch of gear to look through. As a caster, or with caster builds, you want basically a one-handed item, like a one-handed weapon, and you want an offhand if you can help it. It doesn't have to be a gun. In fact, a lot of the better epic or legendary main-hand weapons tend to be like scepters or swords or something along those lines, but we're not there yet. So we kind of just have to look and see what we find. I believe our gun is actually very good at the moment. It helps our build out quite a bit, gives us extra lightning damage in the form of a triggered skill. We have, I suppose the first thing we could replace is the hat, which is just resistances, retaliation damage, and energy regeneration. Now, the thing you want to eyeball on helms is whether or not they're a caster helm. If they're a caster helm, they're more likely to have caster stats on them. That doesn't mean caster helms can't have other non-caster stats on them, but notice here, the armor is doubled compared to a caster helm, which has, like, half. Yeah, you're typically trading better, like, stats in exchange for lower armor. So just bear that in mind. Okay, we need to keep going. And I want one with energy regeneration on it. I know that sounds like I'm being picky at a level where it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, gear, the gear we have here is a means of remaking yourself. And caster helms tend to have an energy regeneration clause on them. You want to look for that, if at all possible. Okay, let's sort this again. Specifically hats. Too bad you can't search your own inventory. I think that would be pretty cool if you could do that. But, alas, this mod just does not have it. There's a caster helm there. Lightning. Cold damage isn't a turnoff for us or anything. Sure, let's wear this. Now, lovely little transmog does go away, but honestly, I think you guys have gotten used to the head hair by now. So we're gonna wear our custom, signature hat. We can always transmog it to something else later. Then we go back and do the same thing for each piece of inventory. I'll probably cut this out in the actual real VOD, as I know it's gonna take a long time. Anything we could do to up our offensive capability is just better most of the time. Go ahead and put that on. Of course, I'm trying not to take forever when doing this, so part of this is I'm not exactly optimally picking out each item. So, like, for example, with this necklace, I would have put it on immediately, but I also would have kept searching for neck pieces until I find one that it does actually do what I want it to do. I'm trying to keep this reasonable, and that means, one look per slot. If we find something, we put it on, we move on. Pretty straightforward stuff. Shadow Strike. This is good, but I want to keep looking. I'll keep my eye on that, though. What about this one? We're mainly a lightning build with some fire as the secondary. Although we don't have fire yet. That'll be a work in progress. Nope, nothing there. And again, we're trying not to use yellows. We don't want to search for yellows, we want greens. So, something I can ask in the meantime is, you know, what is your search process like for gear and other items you're looking for? I guess this is one of the better rings. Now, is this the... Yes, this is it here. Our casting speed is dropped, but in exchange we do get cold damage, so it's not the end of the world. It is just a strictly better ring. But the question I was going to ask is, you know, what's your process for finding items or, like, putting on gear? Do you take your time and sort through this like I do? Or are you like, nope, I see a piece of gear, I put it on, and then I look to see if it's better or worse? Or, you know, what's your process for this? That's what I'm curious about. I do lose damage, but I gain some defense. I just lose health regen, which I guess can be problematic. I think I'm good with the other ring being what it is at the moment. Now, shoulders. Next item on our list. Same as before, except we can replace this with almost literally anything else. We just need to find green shoulder pads, and we've got it. And the one thing we're not going to be replacing is boots. We have epics. We should keep it. It may not be helping us, but it isn't hurting us either to have it. Shoulders. There's one. That one's actually kind of helpful. There's some more. This is ordered weird. Yeah, so the ordering isn't based on gear type. It's just based on what the sorter can do to make everything fit all nice and neat. If it can do that, it will. If not, it won't. Congratulations. Now this one is beautiful. We're gonna keep this, although we're not gonna actually too high of a physique requirement. Never mind. Too high. Something looks good and then you realize it requires a stat you just aren't going to have that much of. For us, it'll probably be cunning after some point. Although, right now, it's looking like physique is really struggling. Maybe I'm just used to the nature of certain class or other choices. Now, one thing that is interesting is shoulders like these that have elemental damage on them. Elemental damage will boost fire, frost, or lightning. It'll boost one of those, all of those three things at once. Yeah, fire, cold, and lightning does all of that stuff. Which is pretty cool. Really cool, in fact. There are damage modifiers that will say plus elemental damage, and you know it works for any of your three builds. Now, luckily, the Elementalist has actual augments that say turn elemental damage to this or that. If you're trying to min-max and focus on a single element at a time, these are great, because elemental damage becomes another copy of extra lightning damage, so it's less of a concern. If you're having issues, and or we end up going pure lightning instead, you know, we could consider retooling, a few skill points in order to make room for that, and then we would have a lot more lightning damage. But I think we're going to go with these rare shoulders. They look really good for the find. We need to resort this again. And there aren't even shoulders here. Okay. Next one, belt, or pants, excuse me. Just kind of going down the line till we find them all. Pants are surprisingly a harder thing to account for as a caster if you don't have sets. A lot of them are all over the place in terms of bonuses. Even caster pants, or like heavy pants, don't exactly share a whole bunch of stuff in common. And, or, there are a lot more defensive benefits on pants than in pants and, like, pants and gloves and boots all kind of tend to be defensive. It's finding the right mix of offense and defense on these that actually matters. I didn't look at our chest piece. It's worth re-examining this again as well. Sorry this is taking so long. I'm doing my best to curtail this, but sorting through gear is not an easy process. My head so wants to go toward, oh, that one's good right there. We lack health and offense, but we do get some other stuff. We want caster chests, though. That's the thing. If something has the opportunity to be pants, we should take it. I believe we're just looking for non-heavy pants. It's physical and aether. Got more pants here. Huh. It's weird. Yeah, and anytime, like, just looking at the difference between, like, rare and magic quality items, you can tell there's, like, a huge jump in the amount of stuff that a rare piece of gear has. Like, greens are good. You want to, like, shift into those immediately, as soon as you possibly can. The shift is that potent. I'm not seeing a good pair of pants to change into right now. Except maybe this. Yeah, let's shift into these and keep an eye on our stats in the meantime. Next one, belt. Let's reorder this. No good belts there. Are there any belts here? I think I saw one. Yeah, just one. How about this tab? Green belt there. Extra energy. This is a good contender. How about this? How about this tab? See a belt there. Okay, this belt looks good. Let's switch into it. And our metal looks pretty good, so we're gonna leave that one alone. Let's revisit our chest piece though, because we sorely could use it. Okay, that's a heavy chest, but that is one worth considering. This one's good. And this one is also pretty good. This one offers even more energy. I'll keep my eye on that one. Ooh, this one. Well, this one has vitality damage, but it could be worse. This one lacks offensive ability, but could be good. Okay, So I've split it up into a couple categories, or I've narrowed it to a couple of items. Where did I spot this again? Right here. Elemental damage, good. We lose more cunning, which means we'll have a lowered chance to hit, but this one has really good energy regen, excellent casting speed. It lowers our attribute requirements, which would make that 212 shoulder go down a lot, or a little, in terms of what it requires. Maybe something like... It would be an extra... Like an extra 21 points before attributes are considered. And it offers like passive and like not passive and active spirit, point-based and percentage-based spirit, so this gets really interesting. This one here does not... It boosts all damage, including physical stuff from our gun. Has defensive ability, has energy per second, energy regeneration on top of that, and then skill disruption protection, also pretty good. And then this one has a skill which isn't worth it, which is worth considering. Whenever you have a skill on an item, always make sure you're looking at that, because that skill can either make or break your builds, sometimes. Especially on like epic or legendary gear, those skills are really important. Some of them will proc extra casts of an item for you. I know some have chain lightning built right into your attacks, which means you could focus on some other skill of some kind. It's really hilarious to see all your items working together this way. I think we're gonna pick this one, simply because having defensive benefits on an item when we're still pretty early on in our builds can just never hurt. Now we sell the rest, because we don't want to be doing this song and dance again, right? All that's left to do is make these trades. Here's the Slith Ring, by the way. If you wanted extra damage to Beastkin, actually this might be good enough on its own. We do lose damage and offensive ability and health. That health is something else. I don't know. But the defensive benefits are so hard to ignore. And we just got 12% to all of our damage. A lot of times it can feel like you're making these trades. We'll go ahead and make that swap. Now there isn't a single piece of gear that's yellow, which means we can stop picking up anything that is yellow. We've got 86,000 iron bits, which is really good. Now, the trade-off for me not picking up items to make money with is that I might grind off camera to do that. But we don't have to go anywhere special. I don't have to break any story elements. Nothing of the sort. We can just take care of business from there. Now, I will try my best to make sure we don't have another one of these, you know, gear inspection segments, but I think it was worth showing off. I did show off a process of just selling inventory before, and evaluating pieces of gear by themselves, but typically how you do it in Grim Dawn is there's almost always a, you almost always have one of these bigger sessions like what I just did, where you're looking through all your gear at once. You're evaluating each piece to find something meaningful, something you could play with, something that goes towards your build goal. Yeah, something towards your build goals. And typically you evaluate your gear in a whole set. Now, just looking at this, we've managed to complete over, or obtain over 115k iron bits, which is also good. Um, you know, with the mod, money is less of a concern than ever before. Especially because you can just hoard cash. You don't even have to, you never have to worry with this mod. You kill enough, you know, bosses, nemesis, and these various enemies, these various bonus enemies, you'll never be complaining. Yeah, I'll sort of do my best not to pick up any more yellows or especially these gray items. I already wasn't trying to pick those up, but sometimes you just get them in the mix. Hopefully this means that we can go a lot longer before having to do one of these segments again. And, you know, again, I'll do my best to not do that on camera, because I know that's boring. No one likes that at all. But it has to be done, especially if we want to keep being able to play. And the music hasn't been incredibly overbearing. No distractions. Not like, oh man, I just need that music to be off right now. I do that when I'm grinding off camera. Like when I'm playing Elden Ring Reforged, and I need to grind. Like the game's music is good enough for a while, but eventually I just gotta put on some tunes, VGMs, or you know, VGM covers, or some synthwave, and I go to town. Speaking of which, what's everyone's probably favorite musical number out of a game? For me, I suppose that would probably be I like the music with the Half-Light fight out of Dark Souls 3 probably more than any other. But I do like some other VGMs, especially if they're covers or they're remixes of original tracks. I'm just curious. I'm not asking for answers. I just want people to be thinking about it more than anything else. I know, engagement is such a tricky thing. You want to be able to make good engagement. You want to be able to ask the questions, and getting responses is nice, but no one should ever feel required to give a response, ever. And so I often feel I have to clarify that engagement questions aren't mandatory. I don't know. I guess it's just streamers and other entertainers wanting to cover their own butt, really. I don't want people saying that I've coerced them into an action they didn't intend to do. Especially if people decide to go to court over it, or, you know, they get incensed enough to complain. I want to be able to field those complaints up smoothly. And that means clearing out my intent ahead of time. Maybe I'll get to the point where I don't have to do that, or more likely I'll reach a point where I don't care, and we'll just do that. Maybe that would be better content creation. I know that's something people have talked to me about before, is my general speaking pattern. I say entirely too much, and I say so much to effectively say nothing at all. Oh, nice.
Not ready.
Yeah, I say so much to say nothing at all at the exact same time, and that bothers people. And I'd like to fix it. I just don't know. I don't really know how without a script, one. And two, it happens when I'm just, you know, talking to people as well. And maybe part of that is I'm speaking from fear instead of speaking out of confidence, because when you speak out of fear, you tend to, and I'm picking up yellows again. The only yellow things we should be picking up are components. It's a bad habit of mine. If I were playing by myself, I'd probably continue to pick them up, because we need the cash. Let's be honest. We need the cash. There are things that cost like 500,000 bits. We do need to have those things. But they don't have to come at the expense of stream time. Get used to seeing this a lot as well. Just yellow text on the screen, moving up and down. It's not exactly the most relaxing thing in the world, but I do find it funny. Oh, we leveled up just now. Our stats got a lot lower. Let's fix that. We need some cunning, a lot. Okay, back over here. There's 2 more in teleport. Yeah, that skill recharge got faster. Yeah, we don't even have to run around anymore. I can just press 3.
I can't do that yet.
Which is cool, but it probably causes my capture card to cry a little bit. Oh god. Thank goodness we have this teleport. I would have been super lost without it. Oh. That tinkered. Oh, I'm doing it again. Only yellow are components. It just might take me a second to wait for the loot to magically rain from the sky. Now, what I might do once stream is over, is I'll come back and collect all these and then just sell them straight up. Because we do need the cash, but you guys don't need to see that. That's not good gameplay. I want to do things that don't bore people. Granted, people probably think Grim Dawn is pretty boring. You know, it's not an ARPG. It's not Elden Ring. It's not Cyberpunk. It's not something that speaks to their real-world sensibilities. We all have to do boorish things at some point, though. And I like the boorish things. I like the fact that, you know, people can still tell tales of fantasy. It doesn't have to be real all the time. Things don't need to be relatable all the time. People can just get lost in something fake for just a minute. For just a minute. The world isn't going to soil itself overnight. The world will soil itself over lots of years, but that's completely different. Ah yes, Milton Hart. We found him. He's right here in the Sodden Hollow. Look at how far that is from Devil's Crossing. That's like 2 or 3 map sections. It's a... Boy, they sure do ask you to go a hot mile to find it. But we did find it. And I still see we've picked up yellows, which tends to happen just in the process of picking things up. Okay, that takes care of all the yellows. Alright, anything that's not a component. I don't know why I call them yellow. They're orange. I suppose I should say the only things we should have are consumables, purples, which are quest items. Legendary items are also purple, but they're a different purple. Oranges, blues, and greens right now is what we should have. I'm afraid I may have to break a promise. I'm not about to give up yet, but... Ugh, so stuffy. I'm not about to give up yet, but things aren't looking good outside. I was lucky to survive that first night when I volunteered to distract the rotten walkers while Bourbon and his group, including my little sister Sybil, made their way through to Devil's Crossing. I believe in bourbon. I believe in alcohol. I'm sorry, I had to make that one. That was too on the nose. I believe in Bourbon, and if anyone can get those people through, it's him. Before they left, I looked Bourbon in the eye and told him to keep her safe. He put his arm on my shoulder and spoke in that calm, reassuring tone of his. He told me that he would do everything he can, but I had to promise him something too, that I would do my damn best to get out of this alive. Well, I've sure got myself into a fine fix. I diverted the walkers all right, but now I'm all hemmed in. I've been hiding in a group of old dilapidated shacks and keep changing my position whenever the dead get too close. I can't find a way forward though, and I'm running out of daylight. The walkers seemed stupid generally, but I think they dug out the riverbanks last night, allowing the water to wash the road out. It's almost as though something is directing them. I'm not done yet, and I have no intention of dying in this rotting shack. I'm going to try to break free and will go out fighting if I have to. If the worst comes to pass, and you're finding this note on my cold corpse, well, please let my sister Sybil know what's come to pass and tell her to be brave. I can only hope that she made it to Devil's Crossing. Don't worry, Hart. We'll pass your message along. We've already slain Julius as well. I even missed slaying him. I'll have to go back on footage and try to find it, but yeah, suppose, like, Pharos, Julius, and Negan are all, like, more powerful undead? Aetherial undead, basically? But nothing really changes. Like, by the time... and we're over-leveled for this as it is. By the time you reach them, you should have a little bit of a build just already in place. And so dealing with, Pharos, Julius, and Negan is quite literally a few keyboard presses away. Now, I will say, if you were wanting to know the proper benchmark for these quests, I would say by the time you were 6 or 7, you should probably be doing these. You should probably be in that right area. Has base Grim Dawn, you're using your weapon a lot in the beginning, because skills are on serious cooldowns. And we're sort of playing with that concept flipped on its head, like stuff not being on cooldown, with stuff being repeatable over and over, like not needing to fire your weapon once, basically, outside of like the first level. So think of that what you will. I want to make sure I'm not missing any messages. Gonna reload this. Just be absolutely sure. Now, for those on YouTube, kind of looks like I'm just pasting a camera up on the screen. I promise you that'll change as well. I'm working with an artist group that is responsible for overlays and stuff, and I will be getting an overlay to put on top of this, so it'll be more like a real stream soon, but not yet. That time isn't yet, and it won't be for months to come, because it takes the group a while to sort of get these the sketches and stuff done. They do have to talk with me. We do have to discuss these things, but I do have something in the works. Promise. Gotta make sure I'm picking out the good stuff. I'm not used to doing this, by the way. Speaking of not doing good things. See that we have picked up just as many yellows. Luckily, you never have to pick up components normally. They do just automatically get picked up as soon as you walk nearby. Same with like potions. You do sometimes have to click on the lunches that restore your or the rations that restore a portion of your energy and health. Oh god, okay. I got it. We're good. We're good.
I can't do that.
Thank you. Yeah, Electrify really does kind of suck sometimes. And the same thing with these, like, AoE rain attacks. They're probably, like, the worst ones in Grim Dawn. Because you just never know where the crap is coming from. You never know where you're not supposed to stand. You have maybe a second to think about it, and then it's gone. I have been playing this in my spare time. Not this file, but I have been playing Dawn of Masteries in my spare time a little bit here and there, just to make sure my skill set stays fresh. And I went with a poison build. I picked something I don't normally do again. I'm pretty content to pick electric or frozen things. So picking anything else can kind of be a stretch for me at times, but I did pick something else, and I found it to be pretty fun. I do like poison or dot builds in MMOs. I'm just not that fantastic or great at the level of multitasking required. Oh god, okay. Yeah, I'm not great at the level of multitasking required to make dot builds functional. So I definitely prefer if the dots are hybrid, like, you know, you have one you gotta track, but it helps your direct damage in some way. Like with Elemental Shamans in World of Warcraft, there's a single target build out there that basically goes all in on Lava Burst. I don't know why I picked up yellows again. I will stop doing this at some point, guys. Mainly because there won't be a yellow to pick up. If it's here... Okay, here it is. It's the amulet. If it's here when we go back to sell things later. Which, again, you guys shouldn't see. Because I'm promising to try to do better about that. I do want to sincerely apologize again for being late. I really mean that. I know I'm not making a good impression by being late. But I am human. I do have concerns and worries. I do have a life outside of this. I honestly stream as a form of decompression. I like having social interaction, and streaming or other forms of online content are a way in which I get that. I don't have a lot of friends. And the friends that I do have, I'm not fair weather with them either. We have disagreements, we have fights, we have arguments. We don't always get along. And that's fine. I think life would be boring if you only had friends you agreed with, if you were in an echo chamber all the time. People need to be told no, and no a lot. People need no in order to grow. Like, being arbitrarily saying no is a problem, but, you know, that's not where the real fights show up. The fights among your friends always show up when the no's are serious. When the no's are serious, and, you know, you're not saying no because you don't like them, you're saying no because you love them as a person, and that's kind of the other thing about me. I know, Cold Mike coin, Cold Mike, but let this be my last warm take of the day, huh? In life, people need to grow off being told no. And no, again, a no out of love. A no because, you know, you're trying to be pragmatic and efficient. You're not just, you know, saying no because you can. It's not a hateful no. It's not a, you know, a no just cause. It's a no because you care. And I care about that. I care about pretty much any human being in that way. I like humanity. I love it. I'm a human myself. I can't help but be a lover of my own kind. I want to see everyone succeed and do well. I wish the world well. And sometimes that means needing to be told no. Or, you know, and maybe not so much no, but always ask why. Why does someone want to do something? Is it just arbitrarily because you feel like it? Or is that person being honest with themselves? If they're being honest, or they're very aware of the fact that that decision is arbitrary, that's fine. Perfectly fine. If they don't know it's arbitrary, you know, and perhaps it's for like a made-up reason or some kind, ask them why. You know, people develop when they get an opportunity to explain themselves, when they explain their rationale. Maybe in the process of explaining something to you, even if it's something they've explained a million times, will help them come to terms with the way they think about things. And they may not say it, they may not show it, but it will get them to think. Humans don't have to be NPCs. Humans don't... You're not awarded a tell or a show of any kind on whether someone has changed their thinking. If someone tells you, be grateful they did. Because that means they either see you... they either see you as an important enough person to tell you, or they care enough about you that, you know, they're saying it. That you get to be part of their in-crowd. But I think because... And I suppose I'm deviating to another topic here along the same vein. Because I have a general love of humanity, no matter how much it might test or vex me, I love it to death. Because I have such a general appreciation for other human beings, I struggle to make friends. Perhaps because I really don't have that many good boundaries set in the first place. Or it might be because the threshold for friend has already been crossed by a lot of other people. So if I'm crossing it, then what's the point of having friends? You know, what's the point? Nice. Yep, this here is another shrine. I believe they're all in fixed locations, so it's just a matter of getting to them all, getting to all the shrines. Let's see, we had another point as well. Lightning. Damage. And fire damage. I believe we wanted all of these except for order. Yeah. Good, and we apparently had a point stocked up somewhere that I forgot about. Good to know. God, I hate being so stuffy. I wish I could do something about it. I find streaming hard because I am so stuffy all the time, and I'm always sure I'm mangling up some word or another. And it's not because I don't know the correct pronunciations half the time. It's because I'm so stoved up all the time that I'm always going to mispronounce it. And it sucks. Because I'm a huge stickler about pronunciation. Huge stickler. I used to be the grammar police when I was younger. For that exact reason. Because grammar and dictation were important. Word choice is important. You should say what you mean and mean what you say. And if you don't say what you mean, then no one knows what the heck you're saying. Period. It's easier when you're forward and direct with someone than it is when you're like, I'd like you to get the hint, please. Now, there's a difference between I'm trying to get you to get the hint because I don't know how else to say it, and I'm trying to get you to get the hint because because I'm trying not to say it directly. And I suppose the beauty and the complexity of human discussion is such that you never really get to know which one unless you just come out and directly ask. And we're dead. The teleport couldn't get us out of that, I'm afraid. Nothing to do but dust ourselves back off and go in again, but only as soon as we dispose of our odious finds.
I'll keep your stash safe.
Thanks. And you can keep these consumables as well, please. And all this rare equipment that we could now wear some of. And you know, Grim Dawn likes to do this thing where, like, if you have other characters or alts of some kind, the game loves to tease you by giving you items for a build that you know you need on one character and not the other. It loves doing that. It's crazy. I know, the game doesn't actually have a mind of its own or anything, but it sure as heck feels like it sometimes. It sure as heck feels like it. And I know, I rag on other people for complaining about games having feelings on matters when they don't, actually. It's just software. It just, if you don't understand how a process works, or you don't know what the game is doing in order to actually get or arrive at any of its choices, it's always going to feel arbitrary. It's always going to feel unfair or unreasonable at times. It's always going to do that. Because that's what human beings are. We're not natively in tune with machines. We're a biological supercomputer that requires biological inputs to help understand the state of the world and our place in it, how we fit in, what our purpose is. Those things are not addressed by facts, they're addressed by emotions. Humans are biological machines which require emotions and hormones in order to help make sense of themselves. Can't stress it enough. I know. And I have a below average emotional intelligence quotient, or an emotional quotient, EQ. It's hard for me to pick up on these things sometimes, but I've had years of experience being a human being, basically, in order to figure that out. That's pretty much it. And even I can pick up on the need for emotions. They're important. Because we're human. They can't help but be important. There are humans that don't have them. There are absolutely humans that don't have them. And you know what? People call them weird.
Come see what's left.
They're not weird. They're suffering. And they don't show emotions or demonstrate human expression the same way. But they're not weird. They're just different. Two different things.
Iron well spent.
You've returned. I see you carry my brother's amulet. So, is it as I feared? Unfortunately, Milton became one of the dead. Oh, okay. Let's not point the gun at the lady, please. Yes. This is a lot to take in. Milton, I'm sorry, brother. Thank you, stranger. At least I can live knowing my brother is free of all this misery. The amulet was enchanted to keep my brother strong. I think you could use it more than me. Here, may it bring you luck. I'm sorry for your loss, ma'am. Yep, we get an amulet. It's not very good, but, well, it's a good defensive amulet, but it's not great.
See anything you like? Iron well spent.
Alright, let's keep going. This stuffiness is getting brutal, though. I will go ahead and just take a break. Make sure... what I'm going to do... I know we normally take these... I take a break right in the middle, but the stuffiness is killing me. I got to do something about it. or it could have issues with... Oh, right, I died before I got a rift. So I guess here's what I'll do. We'll play for a little bit longer. I'm gonna go park a rift right outside that entrance. And then after that, once I've parked a rift on the inside of this cave, I'm going to take a small break to try to do something about my nose. And probably make a hot cup of tea. I've got a cold beverage here, but... one, I'm running low, and two... I don't want cold beverages, I want hot beverages to cut through the stuffiness. But once we do that, it'll probably take me around 5 minutes to make the tea. You know, feel free to, like, stretch your legs, grab a snack, cuddle with your loved one, if that's what you're doing. See that we're leaking a little more drop frames today, but that's neither here nor there. What's this chest? Consumables. Great. Alright, let's park our rift here. And we will take a break. I will be right back after this short intermission. I'll see you guys then. Take care. Okay, I'm back. My apologies about that. I had to, go take care of a couple of other things, and that ended up being a little bit longer of a break than I'd like. So, again, I'm sorry. I'm quite bad at being able to project the exact times on things. I'm usually better at estimates, but I was bad at even that today. So hopefully everyone's break was good enough to make up for that. As a sort of preview of where we're going, and, you know, once we're done wiping the floor with everything that's here, or, you know, I can press the wrong button again, and it crashed. There's always one of these. And you know, the worst part is that I even parked a Rift, and it still crashed. But doing that a lot. I think I need to make sure Steam is up to date. I checked it before stream, but I need to do it. I need to do it before... I need to do it again. Because Steam loves this. Steam loves to shut down what I'm doing after it needs an update. It almost always does this. I'll just go ahead and take care of that really quick. And let's try again. No, this is the wrong game. Frick. Hate it. I hate it. I immediately get stressed out and I just do something stupid by mistake. Yes, close the program. Thank you. It's not what I wanted to do at all. Oh, okay. Ball of stress over. At least I hope so. I have to do this again. That is one downside of playing with mods, is that sometimes they're just unstable. They're very unstable, and if you repeatedly die over and over and over and over and over again, the script will break. The script will absolutely break, and the only thing it'll do is... I realized I just logged into the wrong character again. All the time. Yeah, I've already done that. Notice I do generally like to crank my settings up to 11 when I'm out by myself. There we go. This is the correct build. Yeah, I definitely tried to tame it and keep it more reasonable so that we could actually see content. When I don't care about that stuff, nah, crank that crap to 11. Pretty easy. Fortunately, we have to start all the way over from Whitemire again. But what can you do? At least we know where we have to go, and that's up here somewhere. We can even take a different route so we're not causing the game to load that in one large chunk like that. Damage even seems a lot more appropriate. Yeah, sometimes and I'm picking up yellows again. I picked one up trying to avoid that. Don't worry. I will have all this sorted out in a few streams, or maybe, you know what, I should stop making promises. Maybe I'll never get that sorted out. Yeah, maybe I'll never get it sorted out. Maybe I'm doomed to have to repeat it at all times. Maybe I'm always doomed to struggle under pressure like that. I don't know. I don't want to give people false promises, but I will give it my best effort. I know no one likes it when someone's not confident, and I'm completely slowed down. Best to just leave.
That skill's not ready.
That's usually the beginning of the end as well. When I normally have fast casts that just slow down to the crawl like a snail, You know, you just have to get out of there. I do apologize for all the game crashes. We had it once last stream as well, and that was the first one. And I thought for sure that would have been ironed out, but I didn't really change anything either. So it's one of those, it's the clinical definition of insanity, right? When you, like, repeat or don't change anything and expect a totally different result. But I don't think that definition took into account automatic scripts that just update at random times. I believe that's also the second time I've just had Discord stuff on the screen. I don't know what to do about that. Oh yeah, we're getting in constant trouble. All the time. It is one downside of the Chain Lightning builds is that, you know, you're always going to be pulling stuff non-stop while you're here. Gets you in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Let's see. I believe the way forward is off to the right, so let's head forward first. Sometimes you find hidden areas or secrets by deviating off of the prescribed path. And well, we haven't really progressed the main story. Yes, I do remember this. There's actually a treasure that's here. And you get instructions for that if you go to the opposite side. There's like a cave or something, if I recall correctly. And inside, there's a guy who happens to be a prison hostage. Renegade Isaac Spalders. This might be it right here. Yeah, there's like a stump. He directs you to a stump with some stuff in it. Or it might be under a rock. Either way, he directs you to come here after you try to free him. We'll have to try to find that cave as well, so that actually makes some amount of sense. Come on, teleport, move! Oh, so I guess if you're rooted in the ground, you can't even teleport either. That's really, unfortunate. Usually when you're rooted, you break out of that stuff almost immediately. At least that's how it is in other games, but this isn't other games, this is Grim Dawn. And don't let any soul forget that. Yeah, I believe at level 22 we should be in a whole new region right now, so don't let, you know, if you're trying to use this as like a goalpost on where you can go, or what areas you should be at, don't do that. Like, there are regular Grim Dawn playthroughs that you can go through for that. You're gonna end up over-leveled for the base game. Even if you keep it at base settings, I find that I'm about 5 over what I should be, at least in the beginning. Now, once we get past, once we get to a certain point, I will have no idea what those markers are, but from when I played the base game, I was generally done with the second area of the game when I was, like, 25 or 28. One of those two. I love zapping all these common insects. I don't like it chaining off halfway across the map, but... oh, that's neither here nor there. I notice my conversations are getting a little samey, so let's find something else to talk about. So this game has a few enemy types. You have your Aetherials, you have the undead, you have Chthonic creatures, you have humanoids, you have beastkin, beasts, insects, and like demons. So, what's your favorite fantasy creature? I know for me, I'm a huge fan of mythical angels as creatures in tabletops. Not necessarily like the infamous ones or the famous ones like Gabriel or Michael. I mean like fantasy angels that have been proscribed into their own lore, like astral devas and such, or people making custom creatures out of cherubim or seraphs. Those types of angels, and not ones ripped out of Christian lore. Ah, yes, I believe the Sodden Hollow is what I'm looking for. Okay, Caraxus Fowl. We've got... it's not chaining to anyone else, so he's by himself. Except when he spawns stuff. Okay, he's left us alone. Good. Oh, I needed to get that hand pop out of the way. Oh, man. Rough. We got another 2 hours and 50 minutes to go. Oh, I'm sorry, another hour and 45 minutes left to go. I can't, I'm 19 and I never learned how to tell time. I think that's how the meme format goes. I never looked at a stopwatch. I never looked at a clock. I didn't do those exercises in school either. I just didn't know how to tell time. I don't know. After like the initial 2-sentence meme, I don't know how the rest of the video goes, but I mean, it had to have gone something like that. Oh, and you even summon little miniatures to do your bidding. Isn't that awesome? Where's the music? I hate it when my games do this. Sometimes the music just stops. I'm not sure why. Let me try flicking the option on and off and see if that does something. Okay, there's the music off. And there it is back on. Sometimes you also just have to log into a different place that has, or move to a place that has music, and then you can go from there. And I'm dead. I hope that doesn't cause a crash. I really hope it doesn't cause a crash. Come on, there's supposed to be music. And oh, I see. When the music's like this, I usually... oh god, I don't want to log out though. It's weird. We're gonna have to deal with it, guys. I don't want to have to repeat progress again for like the 3rd time. I really, really don't. Oh, and I died without setting up a rift. Great. Love it. Love that for me. I don't know if I ever actually leveled up either. I think we leveled up mid-fight, and I leveled up mid-fight and just never did that. Which means we have like 3 skill points. I think I took care of the skill points. I didn't take care of the attribute points. Physique and cunning. At this point, we should be pretty good on spirit for a while. There it is. It's ambient, but it's there. Okay. We have our teleport taken care of. Let's put points here. Now we have access to some new points, some new stuff. We can either make our electrocute better because it'll but more expensive. It affects 2 additional targets, electrocutes them, and adds crit damage on top of that. Which I believe crits are double baseline, and you get extra crit damage that makes it more than that. We can let our teleports create lightning explosions. I'm not sure I'm a fan of this. I don't know if it's to the target location or away from the target location. Like, does this impact the blink or the reappearance? We have storm crystals and magma tempest. Storm crystals are like actual totems. They're like pets, basically. Summon. You have a summon limit. These will take a while to recharge. Lives for 14 seconds. It casts lightning hex every second, which decreases defensive ability and makes the target electrocuted and take lightning damage. Or we can make Magma Tempest, which has a 3-second skill recharge, lasting for 6 seconds, and causes skill disruption. I don't know. We do have fire damage in here somewhere, so it has to be worth it at some point to do this. However, we're not taking the fire half of the build, which is very weird. Does Elementalist have... Does Pyroclasm? I think we did want Pyroclasm out of here. I don't know what we're going to do about this yet. But we do have Magma Tempest, which does act as an AoE with a skill disruption on top of that, which is good. It's a percentage chance, to be sure. But I think... I mean, we don't have anything that actually helps lower our defensive abilities any, or lower their defensive abilities any. We have crowd controls, but those are different things. I think what we want is... It comes down to either Chain Lightning or Magma Tempest. Huh. We can always play around with this point and see what happens. Let's test Chain Lightning then. Okay, and I noticed that it only ever affects 2 additional targets. So instead of affecting 3 targets, it affects up to 5 targets. So this gets a lot better at cleave. If you were worried about cleave, if that was something that was of a concern to you, there is Julius, the Decayed. I'm gonna put a portal here. And it adds electrocution on top of that, so not only are we, we're also dotting things up on top of having dots on 5 targets, on top of cleaving damage to all targets evenly. It's a great build. I love Chain Lightning. And I'm not sure what I'm doing with my Elemental Shaman when Dragonflight actually releases. I know everyone's going to be clamoring for, you know, the evokers that are going to come out. The Draconic evokers, which have 2 specs on them. Let's go ahead and use a potion here. But I will love the ability to get to play around with various aspects of the shaman class and elemental itself. I'll love having that fine-tuned control over it. I think people are going to be really happy with that patch. I really do, with that expansion. Maybe the numbers need adjusting, but the numbers can be adjusted easily. There's no, the patches don't really... Oh god, did I just pick up a gray? I did. And we picked up yellows to boot. Yuck. Black. Yucky. Let's fix that. Picked up another. Yeah, moving text really does kind of throw off your ability to pick this stuff up from time to time. There's the music. It needs to loop on itself. Do something so this stops happening. Is that a setting I can change, by the way? Does not say. I don't think it does. Yeah, this is where you change all of your settings, by the way. Yeah, I don't think we can. Picked up a gun. Great. Yeah, I'm doing my best to not pick up excess loot, guys. I really am. I'm trying to make sure we keep moving. I feel like I'm just going to be teleporting all the time. You could sort of make a build out of this if you know what you're doing. Stop stunning me. That does get annoying, but this is what we asked for when we got all these increased hero spawns. You're gonna have more annoying stuff to deal with, just overall. It's like my spells were doing nothing that whole time. Like it's immune. I hate when immunities aren't specified on the screen. You know, make an affix for that. Something. It's weird, because as much as I, you know, dislike the affixing systems in these types of games, they are useful in these types of games to tell you exactly what the enemy does. I wish, I just wish the affixing were a bit more clear, that's all. We have a corpse there that we can't get. Oh! This is Cronley, one of the Cronley's gang hideouts. Yeah, you can fight other humans in this game. Is it the best feeling in the world? No, not at all, but... You know, sometimes people just want to watch the world burn. Got ourselves a bunch of them idiot rovers wandering in our hideout the other night. They were unarmed, as they often are. Of course, they tried to run whenever we jumped them, but little good that did them. Now we have ourselves a few slaves digging in the mine. We can't eat coal, though, and our food supplies are starting to run out. The rovers barely had a few scraps between them. With the Burwitch Bridge destroyed, we're stuck in the... Perhaps we made a mistake by not following... numbers. Could probably hunt down a decent-sized boar between the lot of them. Out here, we got nothing but Slith and the dead. Well, it serves you right, I guess, for, you know, employing slave labor. I get the feeling we just stumbled onto a Cronley gang op. Yeah, Cronley's gang follows a man by the name of Darius Cronley. That is his name. And, they're the most infamous gang of slavers and other people out there anywhere. They're brutal. And most of the time you're dealing with other human beings, so let that sink in for just a minute. But sometimes Cromley's gang will have what I call some extras in there, meaning the gang cavorts with powers of some kind in order to make themselves a local menace. Because otherwise they would be small potatoes compared to the Aetherials or the Chthonians. They wouldn't even last 2 seconds among them. Alright, Rover. Please stay your weapon, stranger. We're no outlaws. We were captured and put to work here in the mine. I hope you're here to set us free. You're slaves. We read the note. I hope... Sometimes your character does these weird things where I think you're meant to talk to NPCs first, and then you're meant to find the note. Because that interaction didn't make sense, since we found the note first. So it would seem, and nothing is worse to a rover than being confined. We were part of a rover band that set up camp in a secluded part of Whitemire hoping to avoid trouble, but trouble found us anyway. They captured 4 of us, but young Larkin and 2 other men who were here already died from overwork. They just left their bodies down here with us. Rovers follow the path of peace, but I can't help thinking the world is a better place since you sent those outlaws to meet their judgment. Since rovers like to travel, you know, we're just gonna let them move on. They don't need to, they probably wouldn't take residence with us anyway, and they would be additional mouths to feed. It's really weird. The native natural response is to do this, but knowing what I know, the correct answer here is this choice. We will spread word of your deed. Should you ever find yourself in the company of the rovers, you will always find a place beside our fire. 500 XP and 250 rep for all that. I mean, the real reward, ladies and gentlemen, was freeing slaves, and not anything else. Yeah, you're gonna love to hate Cromley's gang when you actually find them. They are the scum of the earth. If I could put a bullet through their brain for every single one of them that exist, oh, that would bring me no pleasure at all, but it would bring me some semblance of comfort to know that they could never hurt another person again. That's probably where the real joy would come in, is not joy at death, someone's death, it's joy and relief that they would never be harmed again. They would never kill again. They would never steal again. I believe we have leveled. Yeah, whenever you've leveled, you will get a blinking icon along with the skills window here that will let you know that, hey, you can level up. I think I might have demoed that before. It's worth demoing again. Those YouTube servers must be a little bit weaker today. We already have 900 drop frames. Okay. Well, the dot's very weak, so let's start pumping that up. And of course we're going to want to care about critical rating as well, which means we'll want good offensive ability. And we'll want good cunning as well. I just wish it chained more, honestly. There are better chain lightning skills, but this one has electrocute on it, so it's not... I don't know, it's a different take. Normally people love it when lightning chains to like 50 targets or something stupid like that. So the fact that it doesn't is, well, it's just interesting. It's just unique. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know if I could really make the assessment for that. And if only it could chain to if only it could chain to previous targets. That would be better. There's a green one here. I have to be very careful. I might click the yellows by mistake. And that is another downside of these cleave builds, is that if you don't have a good single target skill, you know, you're gonna be in a world of trouble when a boss comes showing up. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do, my skills aren't that good. You might want to consider changing up your skills for anything that troubles you then. Don't be afraid to do that. And it could also be worth keeping around separate gear just to handle that possibility. This isn't like, you know, World of Warcraft, where there are set builds and you have to follow them or you're in trouble. No, feel free to mix and match. You'll find something to suit your situation within your own mastery. You just need to find it. Carnage looks recent. It does. Usually where there's Carnage, there's Chthonians. Because they tend to be all about blood sacrifices and stuff. Speaking of which, you know, blood sacrifices and all that. I know I said I wouldn't do any more hot mics, but it's more of a thinking question. It's not so much I'm looking to share perspective. I want people to think. Thousands of years ago, or even before that, or even after that, human sacrifices were not an unheard of thing. And people sort of grimace and scream at that and say, oh, barbaric. But the cultures that had human sacrifices, people often signed up for that. Maybe they didn't sign up exactly for death, but they were aware they were being sacrificed towards something. And I want to know what people think. Are human sacrifices in which people are perfectly aware that they're being killed for a cause which may or may not come to fruition? Are people okay with that? I'm not, but then again, I place a high value on life, and you can't live if you're sacrificed for something else. These days, when we think of sacrifice, we think of, oh, well, you know, it's not so much that people are sacrificing themselves, it's that we just don't have the circumstance to save them, and they become a sacrifice. You know, a political weapon, basically. Something used to spread ideation of something. And admittedly, that could be just as bad, right? You know, promoting someone's death for your own purposes. I don't think it's okay, just to be clear, but I'm curious. It drives the question. Is human sacrifice, when everyone is aware and everyone is motivated by a belief of some kind, and it's their own people, it's not someone else's people, it's not sacrifice of inferior people, it's just human sacrifice in general in some sort of political vacuum, is that, or like a philosophical vacuum, is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't know. I know what I believe in. I know what I believe in. I know what I stand for, and I would detest it. But that's not examining the question from a philosophical or historical lens. It's not doing the subject any justice. You're just using your feelings to justify it, and that works when you're just asking for random thoughts. But if you're wanting to justify your position, you need facts, you need context, you need historical perspective to back up your views, or Else they're just that. They're your views. You know, they don't really move the needle in a conversation one way or another. Thank goodness someone came. Those Slith, they attacked my caravan and killed all my guards. I think the only reason they left me alive was so they could have me fresh later. Those bastards. A fine merchant such as yourself probably has a few coins, yes? If I were doing the evil run, I'd probably ask that. But no, I can get you back to Devil's Crossing. Don't kid yourself. Look at this blood. I'm not gonna be able to walk out of here. Appreciate the thought, but it might be better to just end it quick. You probably won't like this, but I can open a rift for you. The last thing I want is my legs to stay on this side while the rest of me goes back, but you're not giving me any alternatives, are you? Send me off, then. You'll be glad I saved your life, old man. Promise. And the thing about Chain Lightning is it can pull enemies from a direction you weren't expecting. That was close. You thought you could ambush me, huh? You thought you could just teleport and spot me over the head and give me a concussion. Nah, that ain't happening, Chief. Try again later. Preferably never, actually, but, you know... People do be bopping, I guess. People do be bopping. And I find that, you know, because we're such an energy-hungry build, I often find myself having to, move over vital essences, even though I don't need their healing, or their ability to restore, fatigue, just to be able to get energy back to cast. You know, that doesn't normally pan out that way, but I'm so glad it did. I'm not happy about the randomly charging brute, though. Build is starting to come together. Oh, and that's the other thing. Sometimes you'll have these ranged enemies roaming about that you can't actually do anything about. You can't. All you can do is plop effects on top of them and hope it works. Make sure I'm not missing anything on the YouTube side of things. Okay, no, I'm not. I'm just paranoid about that stuff. Okay, cave entrance. We don't know where it goes, but who says spelunking ain't a good thing? Oh, and I did manage to unclog my nose, so I am speaking a little bit better. I still scrambled my words, but that's always gonna happen. Man, this thing is just immune to all my damage, isn't it? Stay in the mist for just a second. Please. I'm sure you'll enjoy the refreshing chill. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. I should have just... I don't know where they came from the top of the hill. Not the bottom of the hill. I'm not sure what to do about that. Well, regardless, we do have quests we can turn in, so let's do that now. There's a fire in your eyes and blood on your clothes. Did you put those tainted men down? Tell me, how did it feel? regrets. These people once lived. You get different responses depending on what you have to say. Is there spam? That looks like spam. I might have to ban that. XXX 20.fun. Yeah, we're gonna do something about that. New adult dating chat, free. Put user remove. We're gonna put these in remove messages. Don't need that on my screen. And we're going to report unwanted commercial content and or spam. Thank you. Have a nice day. This has to go on a VOD later. I don't want people seeing that. I ain't paying for a lecture in conscience. Those things are abominations. Abominations that killed my wife, Annabelle, and turned me into a cripple. The only way I can get back at them now is by paying someone like you. So if you want more help, want more iron, skip the morals, and kill some more dead. Here's your pay. Thank you. You asked me how I felt. Don't chastise how I feel, and then turn around and say I ain't paying for a lecture on conscience. That's dumb. That's a dumb response. You killed scores of the shambling dead, but I think you can do better. The Aether corruption created some truly monstrous mutations in the dead. Now it's time for a hot drink. Okay. That should start to open the nostrils. I heard tale from the Burwitch survivors that witnessed a horrifying transformation with their own eyes. Let me just scroll down here a bit. I hope bots are going to be the future of this chat. Balros and Hagra, they was fine folk. Ran the boarding house up in Burwitch. That is until the Aether got them. Turned them into things that you only used to see in nightmares. Those that got away spoke of bloated flesh and blades of bone. I cannot even imagine it. Word is, they chased the survivors as far as the moldering fields to the south of Burwitch. Go out there and hunt some down, then tell me of the slaughter. I'll make it worth your while. Alright then. Hopefully you don't ask me any more touchy-feely questions, right? Right? I hope so, for your sake. Thanks for saving my behind back there. Turns out not all the rifts mean bad business. I've gone up ahead and set up shop. Let me know if you need anything. Yeah, Graves is another salvage dealer.
Good price on what I've got left.
Really cool.
Put it to good use.
Ultimately it doesn't amount to much. It is just salvage. But if you're struggling to get gear because you don't exactly have great luck with getting the blues and the greens, that salvage dealer may actually help you out a little bit. The thing is, you can reset merchants by logging in and out of the same character over and over and over and over again. And that will reset their stock, but it will not reset anything you wanted to buy. So be perfectly okay with doing that before you go around and just change stuff. Before you go around and just start logging in and out a whole bunch of times. Be sure that's what you really want to do. Because if not, you're going to have problems. And you may not like what comes next. Now, I'm not a fan of doing this, but we do need to organize this a little bit better. I know, I'm doing organization on stream again. Someone stop the presses at how many times this guy lies on camera, right? But, this kind of has to happen so I can make room for goodies. Because we got a lot of them. What else can I do? I can move things here. So we've got more room. And this system probably still ain't enough. Really, I'll be so glad once we get out all of the... What am I trying to say? Once we get out of, I completely blanked on what I was trying to say. Once we're able to salvage, we won't have to worry so much. We should be good to go then. But it'll be a while before we do that. It ain't easy getting that all squared away and set up. I have a belt, which could go somewhere else. Belt right here sounds like a good enough spot for it. Sort of just making room. Yeah, it looks really disorganized, but I promise, you know, we won't be spending that much time on this. Now what we have left are sellables. Yeah, that's... No, one more belt. I'll take that back. We have one more belt. If we just shuffle this up a couple of rows, we should have what we need. I don't know. I think sorting out inventory is fun. I don't know. Does anyone else find this relaxing? I find it relaxing. Maybe that's all that... No, I'm joking. Your entertainment matters to me more than the whole wide world. I promise. I'm just really, really picky. I'm really fighting my personal feelings on this, just to make sure I'm not doing it too much on camera. Granted, I think that took less than a minute, but that's not the point. Or maybe it's less than 90 seconds. That still isn't the point. Point is that this stuff has to be really limited. Much better. Do we have a rift set up? We do have a rift set up this time. We don't even actually have that many quests, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. No, don't pick up that stuff. Anyone else stand in a swamp for like a hot minute? Or like a bog and just kind of breathe in the murky swamp air? And listen to the frogs sing, the cicadas make noises in the morning. Anyone else ever do that? I mean, I've never been to... I've been to like Okefenokee. No, that's not the correct word. It's Finizzy, that's the one I'm thinking of. There's another one I used to go to, though. And I forget the name of that swamp already, but... alas. There's nothing quite like just sitting and listening to nature make all of its noises. Creatures making their noises. Talking to one another. And it may not translate to words or... actually intelligible sentences, but to those creatures, it means something. It means... It actually has meaning. We don't call it... To them, they might recognize it as a signal and much less a sentence, but it means something. Whereas to us, we're like, well, we can interpret it that way, but it does take us It's not a science, it's more of an art. But that is something I like to do. And I like going on walks. Believe it or not, as long as I'm allowed to take my time, and people are like, "Come on, you old fat fart, come along now. You're too slow." Someone lets me walk at my own pace. And, you know, I carry enough deet and stuff, so it's not an issue. Then I love going on walks. And I realize that kind of makes me sappy, but that's probably how I'd like to spend time with my significant other, is on walks. You know, just listening to nature. Hearing its song. And boy, is it's a real clarion call if you let it be. Because here's the thing. You know, no matter how much psychologists or others want to say, you know, we're alien, or we're not like other animals, we're in a class all of our own, we're human, we're not animal. Whether we like it or not, we still fit under the biological definition of mammal. We have fur and or hair, we nurse our young, we breastfeed them, we have brains, we have a chambered heart, we have a spine, we have a lot of things that make us a chordate, an animal, a mammal. And I cherish that commonality, because it means we're not alien creatures. Yes, we speak, we have words, but when we get past the fact that we're sentient, when we get past the fact that we're the only one that actually transforms nature to our own benefit, and no other creature does that. Even creatures like otters or monkeys that make tools they sort of use their own bodies in conjunction with the tools they make, and they're capable of doing a lot with just a little bit of tinkering. Need to be very careful. Yeah, we can do a lot with a little. Or they can do a lot with a little. We actually kind of need to, you know, fundamentally transform the nature of the rock to use it as a tool. Did that thing actually die? I think it just went back. But yeah, we have our place in nature. We just are the only ones capable of messing with it in any fundamental capacity. Even beavers who chew wood and make dams, or termites that chew through wood, they all have a purpose. They all live in nature's tapestry. We do too. We just need to do a better job as individuals. Oh, this does affect more targets. That's good. So it sounds like at every odd level, and there are 12, we get a target breakpoint. Never mind what I said. This is an excellent chain lightning. This affects 7 targets? Hot. Nah, you just went out somewhere else and called help. But yeah, we're part of nature. We are not against it. We just sometimes live outside it. We like our, we like our steel walls. We like our brick buildings. We don't like being surrounded by other kinds of creatures. We like being surrounded by our own. And we keep other creatures as pets. So say of that what you will.
Can't do that yet.
Just gotta keep moving. And I immediately... Oh, something is draining my energy. Okay, yeah, I'm probably dead.
I can't
Or not? Oh, that was close. I'm not sure what happened there.
That skill's not ready.
Oh, I'm wandering in unknown territory, which is something you definitely don't want to be doing. Yeah, I knew that would happen. I knew in my heart of hearts that that would happen. And I fear with every death and every teleportation that we're just going to end up, having issues. We do really need to get our gear, like, all situated and start using some, rares. We don't have that set up yet, so we're currently struggling. Luckily, we do have our rift set up. Yeah, look, we uncovered a swath of map by going in an unknown direction. Great. I will kill you, Wendigo. You just watch. And Aether builds are almost always super fun in this game. There's a lot of Aether energy just floating about. I mean, it makes sense. After all, before... Oh, God. You know... People here in Cairn, I think that's the name of the world, did mess around with it. Yeah, people did mess around with Aether energy, but, you know, I find the inclusion of Aether to be a very overbearing thing, sometimes. There's a lot of it. Vitality damage is also... Vitality and chaos damage are also kind of included a lot. Let's go ahead and grab this. It's not nothing. Good. The real issue is going to be that enemy up there, up on the hill. Because the rest of them aren't giving us issues. Yeah, I think this thing is resistant to electricity. I guess now we know if we see Malices, we're going to have a tough time. Which does also lend itself to wanting to carry fire. What I'll really be worried about is if enemies are resistant to elemental damage, then there'll be nothing we can do. You know, say for using physical damage of some kind. Or lowering their defense. This does lend some additional credence to the skills and abilities like Fire Nova that do lower elemental defense and resistance. Okay, we can get the Savage Totem. Nice. Sometimes those totems spawn all elites, all of them. And then those are usually the rough time. I love the guitar when it gets to this point. And the strings as well. Set it off pretty nicely. So what does everyone think of Grim Dawn Dawn of Mastery so far? Does everyone like it? For those that want to know about our player build some, I believe the command for this is !player build. Yep. Oh, did I change that? Yeah, I changed the player build and didn't actually change the player build. Yeah, so it's not lightning and cold, it's lightning and fire. So I'll have to fix that. But, it will be fixed. So this is a case of Coin just didn't update his commands like he was supposed to. It happens sometimes. It definitely happens sometimes. But that's rare. I've been pretty good about updating commands lately. I just completely forgot. I'm glad I tested that, or else I never would have known. I try to check those about once every 2 to 3 days. I mean, I'm only streaming on YouTube once a week, so if I were playing the game more often, I'd check about every day or so, just to make sure. Man, YouTube is a lot of work. Content creation in general is a lot of work. I was surprised. You know, you'd think that it's easy. It's just sit in front of a camera and talk about stuff. No, you gotta think about all that dead space that, you know, you normally wouldn't have issue with. Because sometimes dead space in conversation's a good thing, but you're on camera. Dead space is not a good thing in conversation. You don't want to see it. You don't want to hear it. You want it to be structured. And I've realized I've had a ton of dead space already. Not the game either. Okay, thank the Lord and Savior himself that fight is over. I was worried about it. But I'll have that command fixed for next time. Don't worry. I don't know if we went... yeah, we did go in that entrance. That was the, I think that was the cavern that the Cronley gang was hoveled up in. See, sometimes I forget even what I was doing beforehand. I forget what I'm doing, like, in the middle of an episode. But, I hope people are liking Grim Dawn. I really do. It's a beautiful game, once you get to know its flaws. Its flaws, its secrets. I like it. And it lets me appeal to my own build fantasies in a way that's hard to replicate in games these days. A lot of people are like, well, you know, how does this build function in the grand scheme of things? Is it better than build B? I don't care if it's better than build B. If I like build C, Chain Lightning, let me do it. I might suck. You know, if I'm trying to do multiplayer content, then yeah, of course, you know, regulate it. I don't want to bring sucky content, sucky builds into a multiplayer setting. That's awful. But if it's single player, let me have the fun I want to have. And if it isn't functional, you know, then make it functional, or I'll accept the fact it's not functional. So, we have set ourselves up for a bit of a dilemma here. We have 2 paths we can go. One of these is to build the bridge. Get used to bridge building, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a bridge building engineer, you're gonna love these. I'm joking, by the way. You could either build the bridge, or you see that cave back there? You can bypass the bridge and go to the cave. I recommend bypassing the bridge and going to the cave anyway, whether you build the bridge or not. If scrap can be kind of hard to come by, so treat this requirement seriously. If you don't want to spend scrap and you don't have 5k bits, I found this being very hard to come by in plain Grim Dawn. I had to really grind for this. There's no shame in just taking the cave. You ultimately get to point A and point B, or point B, much faster by taking that cave. But if you've got the money and materials for this bridge, build it. This bridge once connected the White Mire to Burwitch. If you wish to cross it, you'll need to repair it first. If you cannot, you must brave the dangers of the flooded passage nearby. Now, if we were in real life and this happened, no, I'm not going in a cave. Thanks, but no thank you. I'm absolutely just going to repair the bridge, and I'll find the scraps some other way. But, this is an adventure. It's why we put these adventures in games. We don't have to think about it, or we can afford to take the path less chosen. We're not operating off logic. We have the 3 scrap and the 5k bits to build the bridge, so we're gonna build it. Either way you go, you are gonna end up. In fact, I think I will show off going through this bridge first. Is that I normally just skip this bridge, but this goes right to the Burwitch outskirts. And here our foes kind of change a little bit. There are still Aetherials running around. Come on. Okay. Oh, that was close. There's still Aetherials running around, but there are also beasts and beastkin. Thank you for your custom, but I don't want to die today. Yeah, Ice Snap and these similar Yeti are proving to be quite a nuisance. We will definitely want a fire skill at some point. Because it's not like it's not taking any damage from our stuff, it's just not taking enough. Yeah, usually creatures will have access to 2 or 3 different types of resistances. And that can make dealing with specific enemies a kind of a problem. This is why in Grim Dawn, like base, a lot of the core skills or core masteries have a lot of damage types that check against all those resistances. Aether, cold, fire, electricity, chaos, vitality, poison, pierce, physical, and bleed. All of those. Really fun stuff. Now, if you wonder what I'm doing here, I'm trying to make our way over to a camp. The camp will have access to it's not it isn't the ability to break down gear yet, but it will let us make gear if we complete the quest. Which, making your own gear is like half the fun. Well, we just have limited materials until we do it. Yep, here we are. Right here, the Burwitch Reconnaissance Report. And here's that rift. This is the other side of that cave, by the way. So let's go down here, and I'll sort of show you what I mean. Here's the other side of the cave entrance. It's right here. We're gonna go in the cave the intended way, as there's also a secret area there, but, rest assured, you know, we're doing it for the lulz because we can, and not because we have to. Hi, Darian. I can't do this. I can't. This is all too much. I miss real food. I'm not used to eating this. I think it's meat? Where did it all go wrong? One minute I'm making the trade deal of my life, and the next I'm stuck out in the middle of the woods surviving on scraps. Yeah, the Grim Dawn happened in like a cold, cruel instant. It's as if the Band-Aid were ripped off an old scab or something, taking the scab with it. And that's how gritty Grim Dawn actually is. We've all suffered in the Grim Dawn. I don't think you understand the scope of the situation. I was going to move to the estates. The estates? I'm sorry? You don't get to live a rich landlord? You look like you've got a head on your shoulders.
Oh, hello, traveler.
Hello, traveler. If you find yourself going about these parts, I was wondering if you'd help us locate someone. I'm a bit tied up with the forge here. What are you doing out here? Arming these people against the dangers of Cairn. See, I was right about the name there. Doing the best I can with what I've got. What did you need help with? My master, Angrim, left our camp earlier today. He insists he's intent on finding a group of survivors that he considers worthy of our smithing talents. We don't exactly see eye to eye on the matter, because of who we should be helping. Angrim wants to field an army, and take the fight to the Aetherials. I'd rather save as many as I can, whether they can fight or not. I went to help these people, but without my master's forging hammer, the sacred Malian Menhir, I won't be able to make anything worth a damn. Yeah, there's gonna be cussing in here. Just putting that out there. Nothing too out of hand. I think there's like a few damns and hells thrown around. The rest of it's got the typical trope of subbing out the really dangerous word for the really, really generic word. Blacksmith, we could use you in Devil's Crossing. If you can get Malian Menhir back, I will gladly join you in Devil's Crossing, after I use it to help out around here. Please seek out my master and get Malian Menhir back. I saw him heading out to the northeast. He couldn't have gone far. What is the Malian Menhir? It is an ancient forging hammer passed down through generations of blacksmiths. It is now in the hands of my master, Angrim, but I feel that the time has come for it to be passed on to younger hands. Why do you feel the hammer should go to you? I mean, Angrim also seems like a viable target. My master is an expert blacksmith. Don't get me wrong. The weapons he creates are of the finest quality, but he is reluctant to experiment with arcane forging techniques. And that, I'm his superior, and he knows it. More importantly, though I wish to help people, while my master only wishes to prepare soldiers for the battle against the Aetherials, it's a noble goal. But humanity will not thrive if just our soldiers survive. Sure, I understand.
Oh, hello, traveler.
I will find Angrim. Yeah, so we gotta go find Angrim. He's on the opposite side of the map, by the way. Just gonna point that out. We got quite a bit to do, to get to him, though. Thankfully, we've cleared out our inventory, so, you know, we only have this tiny bit of stuff we're carrying and not anything else. Great, great content. I believe he's, like, over here somewhere. Amidst all the spiders, Oh, I forgot that arachnids were their own type, but I think they fall under beast? It's weird. Sometimes there are more enemy types than there are factions. Like, if we press J to look at this... yeah, we've got, Hatred here. We've got Nemesis spawns. We've got Despised. If you want to know more about the factions, you can definitely, You feel free to read the faction tab. I'll probably go over them at some point, as I do want to demo everything, but that is going to be a little bit. Also, off to the bottom right-hand side is a Chthonian area. I'll just tell you that off the cuff. I happen to remember it very well. Sometimes there's a key that lets you get there immediately. Sometimes you gotta find the key on the other half of the friggin' map. So you could be a while. I think they said, I'm not worthy. They aren't worthy. I think, or like, you know, death to the infidels. Something like that. That's essentially what it amounted to. Even if they said something else. When you dislike someone so much that you, liberally interpret what they have to say. It's either up the hill or it's actually this way. The guy is sitting on like a cliffside, I think. If my memory is correct. No, I didn't want to teleport into them. I fat-fingered the 2 and the 3. Beautiful. I love that our build is coming together. You know, right now it's playing out exactly as the player build command specifies, but I promise you that'll be changing. It just so happens that this is what we're doing. You do have to go through a patchwork of beasts and arachnids before we get to it, and that's gonna crash. It's gonna crash. Isn't it beautiful? It's gonna crash. I hear arguing outside my room. I gotta close this because it's gonna crash. Yeah, it crashed after I cut it off. Great. So I'm gonna make sure that the program is running. Don't worry, we've actually made a brand new rift. Killing all those enemies again won't be the worst thing in the world. It was different when we didn't get to a rift. I hate how it always starts off with the previous character. Weird. So, I'm gonna leave you guys on the title screen for a second. Or on the main character screen. And I will be right back while I figure out what the hell is going on outside my room. See you guys shortly. Sorry about that. My house tenant is having a rather loud conversation with, their former significant other. And they were quite loud. I could hear them as soon as I took my headphones off. And the art does look pretty nice for this game. It really does. The loading screens, even though they are few and far between, the thing about Dawn of Masteries is at least it does have its own loading screens, and you do sometimes get those. And they're always a treat when you get to see them, because that usually means that the scripts are working correctly and that there aren't catches or glitches or crashes. None of that stuff. Wendigo Spirit goes here. Let's see, we have health potions. Or, I'm sorry, these are tonics of mending. Oh, we have the reconnaissance report, which I didn't ever get to read because we were in the middle of a crash fest. Awesome. And there are a lot of consumables. There are a lot of freaking consumables. Absolutely. They're everywhere. Crafting materials, they're just all over the place. Crafting material warehouse. At least that's how Hard Leg Joe, I think, would say it, right? Anyone else watch Hard Leg Joe Gaming? Or like his book or political series? Like those kinds of channels? He has quite a few of them put together. They're, actually, we could probably afford to put out the smaller amount for the bigger amount. And I suppose we'll keep 100 of these for right now. I do sometimes. Mainly the Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. That's what I'm really there for. And I know it's weird. Why are we talking about Yu-Gi-Oh? Even though I'm a Magic the Gathering fan, I could still appreciate Yu-Gi-Oh! For what it is. Oh, and we can now purchase the various vendors. Which we will definitely be doing right now, because that is something I do want to show off. It just took us a long time. I normally already have it by this point. But what can I say? We just took a long time to get the rep. Also, free infinite dynamite. You get used to this a lot. Also, all of these newfangled things cost 1, with the exception of the merits, which I believe were always available. Not sure. You also have the Stoneheart oil, which is a consumable, and the Slither Blood tincture, which is another consumable. Yeah, we're going to be buying all of these. Vendors of all kinds.
See you around. Okay, business.
So we're gonna buy a storage expansion, the first of many, and we're going to just place all of these in here. Nothing else goes here except that in the order in which they were purchased. So we know at any time we can have access to them. So whenever you use one of these, there is an NPC. It's like summoning plutonium, it's like a plutonium Nyborg. Although that might just be a quote, now I'm thinking about it. Still, either way, clicking on these, no matter where you've placed them, except obviously if you sold them, will summon a corresponding NPC that will in fact trade for your epic tokens. We have 4, which is enough for our first exchange. Now, I believe we're using NCFF classes, and I believe we are also using... Oh, I see that thing in the corner. I know where it's taken residence. Hate it. We're gonna go to the Dawn of Masteries. I'll figure out which one it's supposed to be from here. Cataclysm, I believe it is... I believe this is an NCFF? Yeah, it's an NCFF Dawn of Mastery, because there's 6. Either that or it's... No, it's Yeah, this should be NCFF. I think NCFF probably has like the worst possible merchants. So you've got the blacksmith and you've got the merchant. Let's take a look. So this is what the blacksmithing menu looks like. I probably would have showed this off if we had access to Duncan or Angrim, which is ultimately what that quest will provide. But look at all these implements. We have ranged, we have melee and implements. We have ranged, which include guns, bows, crossbows, and sometimes wands or staves also fall into this category. We also have belts. We have armor, basically. We just have to figure out... Yeah, okay. Here it is. Scintillist. So it is part of the NCFF suite. Good to know. Now, we have access to accessories. We can make... By converting 16 epic tokens, we can make a legendary token. And legendary gear is typically 50 and above. Level 50 or higher. Because we have an NCFF and a, there's another class that, there's another source material. Right, it's NCFF and I believe Zenith? Yeah, Zenith is the other one. Zenith, I think, has really bad vendors as well. But, yeah, you can also filter your gear, so if you want to specifically look for lightning damage, you have it. And there are also relics. We haven't really discussed these because we still have the Wanderer's Crest active, and it's kind of been serving our needs. Relics are like the last item slot, and they do a lot in exchange for... They do a lot of stuff, and they also sometimes have active abilities as well. The only problem is that sometimes you don't get them until later. Yeah, we don't even get stuff until 35. So these might be a tad bit out of our reach for now. But it is worth having. It is worth showing this off. We have access to so much now that we have all these vendors. Of course, we probably can't access this the stuff on this particular vendor right now. I believe I've already said that. It's worth repeating. Yeah, we have to start getting this stuff. The trousers are available right now. I search for lightning. So if we need to switch and show damage. Yeah, we're gonna be waiting a while. Let's try another vendor, or another blacksmith. Where is the Zenith one? Yeah, look, see, Zenith only has a merchant. It doesn't even have a blacksmith. I didn't want to buy it, but whatever. That's 18k iron bits I just don't get back. Yeah, that's kind of sucky. Which is why the Zenith classes tend to get picked up as support, and not as anything else. So, now we also have a few other things. Let's try summoning the remodify and other blacksmiths. Where did those show up at? Over here. And it took them a second to load that. You know the list is expansive when this is what's happening. Ah, I see. No, it's the fact that the list is blank. So if we look through this, oh my, just look at all these, and they require very, very advanced arcane materials to make. Let's try sifting for lightning damage and see what we get. Yeah, these look like, these definitely look like modifiers to various skills. Got Albrecht's Aether Ray. We have Devastation. We have the Storm Box of Elgaloth. So these are skill modifiers or remodifiers for Grim Dawn stuff. And the reskill puts a different skill onto an item. Cool. Okay, let's sift by and do this again. Gotta be careful. Spelling errors will cause it to return nothing. So let's see, we have Lightning Sphere. We have Lightning Nova. We have a Depths grips here. Depths gloves. These look like they're modifying specific weapons, actually. I'm not sure what I want to use these for yet. Finally, we have... What else? Grim Quest we don't have any of that would be useful. We can summon the Grim Dawn Epic Blacksmith, though, for the Epic tokens. And we will have access to relics and stuff. Although now is another good time to show off this. So normally there would be relics here. Instead, sometimes the smiths will let you convert something into something random. 4 tokens for a random conversion. And also 6 tokens for something specific. So if you want something random, that's what you're going to get. Is random. Let's see. And oftentimes these come paired with very specific skills in mind, which these aren't the most useful thing in the entire world. If we had like a Grim Dawn mastery, we could make better use of this. We don't. Additionally, all the sets and stuff here as well are focused on Grim Dawn masteries. So with these, you just want to find the token that works for you. Be careful about the token trader. It will, if you are wearing epic equipment or better, it will take all of that in your, it will take anything you are wearing and just shred it for tokens. Some affixes can't be items with affixes can't be exchanged, and equipped items are also removed. Yeah, sucks to be you. Be very careful with this. We have 3 points. Let's put this in. Let's keep pumping it up. 5 targets. This affects 8 targets now. That's impressive. So I'm worried about our tenant outside. I want to make sure we don't have an active rift right now. we do not have an active rift. I'm worried about my folks outside, so I am going to go ahead and call it a little bit early. I want to be safe rather than sorry. I want to thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting me, even if you were just quiet in the background. Always appreciate it. I don't want to manage chat or do anything else. Oh, it just pops it up for you. Okay, yeah. I want to thank you guys, regardless of where you are. Appreciate it. If you like the content for any reason, you know, feel free to subscribe. And hit that notification bell. Just jolt it for me. Just a little bit. Lets me know that, you know, you like the content enough for me to continue doing it. This is an experiment, so I'm not sure what's going to happen if, you know, this experiment fails to pan out. With streaming on YouTube, there haven't been any disconnects. There have been no disconnects, which is probably the biggest reason I'd switch, if anything. But again, I just want to thank you. Can't state it enough. Outside of subscribing, and hitting the notification bell, I'm mainly on Twitch, twitch.tv/coinstamp. Every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we're doing stuff in Elden Ring and Blasphemous. We recently beat Blasphemous. Now we need to beat it another 3 times to get everything else that's in it. But we do have ongoing game projects that we will complete eventually. And then after that, sky's the limit, honestly. I might make a serious attempt at World of Warcraft again. You never know. With that, tune in next Friday where we continue the story. We continue working towards securing the Burwitch portal. I think, and this is just me, it's gonna be a mite close, but we might be able to get done with finding the apprentice, and then we will really be able to just storm off with our epic gear and really have a go at making those tokens. But I'm Swirling Vortex or Coinstamp. You can take your pick on whichever one you like. And this has been an episode of Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries, Episode 2. You will find this up on YouTube in the VOD section under the Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries playlist. And with that, thank you guys again. I will see you guys next time. Take care, and bye-bye.